Welcome to the Fantasy Football Garage. I'm Chris. My friends call me the Candyman, and you already know what time it is. Tonight, we're drafting best ball teams. It's the week of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. We're going to be drafting some Albatross tonight, some of the Underdog Open, and talking golf. So we've got a preview for Pebble Beach loaded up. I've been doing the research, and I'm pretty pumped. I really like this tournament. It's a fun tournament, beautiful part of the country, right near Monterey Bay. They're going to be playing 3 rounds at Pebble Beach and around either on Thursday or Friday at Spyglass Hill. It's going to be some really good golf. We're getting Rory McIlroy, and Shane Lowry and Tommy Fleetwood in the field for the first time all year. So it's going to be a nice, solid field. It's the first signature event of 2026, and it's going to be a fun one. I'm excited for it. I've got an Albatross loaded up here. We're still waiting on one. So in the meantime, let's pop over here to some of my slow drafts. I've got a few of these slow drafts going. Let me bring y'all right into the 5th round of this slow, where I started off with, you already know, I'm drafting a ton of Xander Schauffele. I think I've got like close to 40% Xander. I have him ranked 3rd overall. I'll take him ahead of Rom, but I have a lot of Rom too. I'm like 36% Rom, but I definitely take him ahead of Fleetwood. Russell Henley, one of my favorite clicks as well. Justin Rose, needless to say, the guy won in the desert and or actually he won at the Farmers, excuse me, but he's been putting up numbers. Patrick Reed I tweeted about this earlier today. Patrick Reed has been on a tear in the DP World Tour. He's great at the majors. He's great. He's got a green jacket. He plays well at Augusta. So Patrick Reed's a guy that I've been advocating getting. I tweeted it out about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when Patrick Reed was still going around pick 47, 50, that you should be snapping him up. He's now ADP 27, so he's going very early, and I'm taking him, like you can see here, at pick 21. I'm not afraid to get him. I'm probably just going to go Corey Connors in this one. Another guy I like, who I want to advocate for, Ryan Gerard. Doesn't have a lot of tournament history in these majors, but really good golfer. He's averaging just under 3 strokes gained per round in the current season. So he is hot. He's playing well. Corey Connors, kind of up and down. He's doing all right to start the season, but he has a really good majors history across, let's go find Corey Connors. Across everything. The Masters, he's got 3 top 10s in the last 5 years. The PGA, he's got 3 top 25s. He's a top 10 in the US Open 2 years ago and a top 10 at the Open last season. So out of his last 20 majors, he's got 10 top 25s. He's got 5 top 10s. And at the Open, he's got 3 top 25s and a top 10. So this is, Corey Connors never won a major, but a good golfer, a solid pick for this format, no doubt. I've got a bunch of exposure to him. And then if I'm lucky, if I can get Ryan Gerard pick 33, yeah, I'm slam dunking that pick. I don't mind Jason Day. I've got plenty of Brian Harmon, Cam Smith, and Jordan Spieth. So I want to get a little bit more Ryan Gerard. Yeah, what's up, Hartman? How we doing, brother? Good to see you. Hope your draft's going well. Hartman, who you been drafting these days in your Albatross? Who you getting high exposure to? I'm interested to hear. Thanks for being here. Let's go back into one of these other slows. This one here, a little bit further along in the 6th round. Still waiting on one in a fast Albatross draft for to fill. We'll kick this thing off. So, of course, I go Xander at 4. I'll go ahead and show you this. I go Xander ahead of Fleetwood every time. McIntyre, I like to sprinkle him in. Sometimes I'll take Hovland there. Siwoo Kim, he is playing so well to start the season. I mean, he's finishing the top 10 in every event. He's finishing the top 5. So he's averaging like 3 strokes gained over the field. He definitely becomes a priority. He's one of the players a decade ago, veteran pro on the tour, and he's a guy that could potentially win a major, or at least just give you some nice finishes. So I don't mind sprinkling in more Siwoo Kim. I want to get more exposure to him, how hot he started to play the season. So I'll take it. I took him here at 16. I think anywhere in this range is fine. I've got a bunch of Colin because of his tournament history. He's just good at the majors, and he hasn't had a great start to the year, but there's still plenty of time. Harris English, another great pick. So here I go English ahead of McNeely, Day, Straka, Bradley. I think is how I definitely play that most of the time. I'm gonna get, like I said, I'm gonna get some Ryan Gerard here just to get a little bit more exposure. The guy's hot. He let's go look at Ryan Gerard. He doesn't have a ton of tournament history. He's going to be rising up the board. He already has been. Started pick 66, then 50, then 40. Right now he's in the mid 30s. He's one of the hottest risers. He's top 25 player in the world. He even started a top 30 player in the world to begin the season. He's never played at Augusta, but he's qualified. He finished top 10 at the US at the PGA last season at Quail Hollow. Right, so that's really impressive. His first PGA, and then that's didn't have a lot of tournament history, like I said, but he is playing well and has had a lot of nice finishes. He had 3 runners up. He was a runner up at Mauritius before the season. Flew halfway across the world so that he could qualify for the Masters before the season started. And then let's go. I have the Pebble Beach field list up. I'm gonna duplicate this and go into Gerard. So he had, where was it again? So Mauritius, and then second at Sony, second in the desert at the American Express, and a T11 at the Farmers. His last 3 PGA Tour events, 2.89, 3.0, and 2.3 strokes gained total over the field. That's like averaging just below 3 strokes gained. That's elite territory. That's anything above averaging 2 strokes over the field is going to be good. It's going to be really solid. Good enough to win a tournament, good enough to win a major if he stays hot. So still waiting on one more to fill the fast Albatross. I've got my eye on it over here on my phone. Let's jump into some of the preview for Pebble Beach. Beautiful course, beautiful part of the country, and definitely on my list of places to play around. On my short list, yeah. What's up, Bindles? How we doing, brother? Haven't done a ton yet, says Hartman. Following ADP, schedule early, looking to take a shot on Penge. Yeah, Marco Penge. I like that. I like that name. And Brennan late. Brennan's good. Brennan hasn't had a great start to the year. He was disqualified. What was that, from the Farmers? I think it was. And so that was pretty funny. But yeah, Brennan's good. He didn't have a whole lot of tour experience. He's a young guy, but I like that as a late click. I think it's going to be tough for Brennan to do well right off the bat in some of these majors. So I don't want to be like too overexposed, but I'm definitely open to it. And just like that, the Albatross filled. So we're going to get into our weekly Greg Ducharme tournament preview Twitter thread. That'll have to wait. Let's go right into this fast Albatross and make our draft picks, and we'll come back to the Pebble Beach preview. We can talk some data, some best picks. We got Chaz Michelson in the 2, Hartman in the 3, Gunnar Ross in the 4. I'm in the 5. There's our draft board. I don't mind the 5 spot. I mean, if you don't get the 101 and you don't have Scotty Scheffler, then all the other draft selections are kind of the same to me. I don't think there's that big of a difference. You can make an argument, in my opinion, that as long as you get one of Scheffler, Rory, Xander, or John Rahm, you're probably in the best position. You can make an argument for Bryson, I think. And other than that, it's a big teardrop after Scotty. So Fleetwood does go in the 4 spot. I think that's a mistake. So I ended up with a ton of Xander Schauffele. Can easily be the guy you need. He just 2 seasons ago won, 2 majors in one season, and he just has that big playability. Yeah, Bindles got to start tracking his strokes. ... Talking about golf, right, Bindles? Hell yeah, appreciate you, Hartman, jumping in. Channel member Hartman, always good to see you, brother. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday night. I'm excited for this tournament. I really am. This is one of my favorite tournaments of the year, just because it's just a fun venue. There's the smallest greens on the PGA Tour. They're hard to hit. You have to be a killer with your approach shot, with your wedges. The average approach here is I think it's like 140 to 150 yards, or maybe even less than that. And so you really have to be deadly accurate. There can be really windy days day to day. And so, this is just, it's a task. You can go low. You can definitely go low here. So for me, I have my ranks pretty much updated. Ludwig, I'm a slight fade. I'm going to go Henley, Hovland, or McIntyre here. This time, I'm fine with going Henley. I don't want to be underexposed to Henley. I'm actually using Henley in one of my one and done picks for this week. Speaking of one and dones, I've got Siwoo Kim, Russell Henley, and who did I pick for my last one? I think I did pick Justin Rose in one of them too. The other player I was considering using this week was Patrick Cantlay. So you want guys who can get close with the approach at Pebble Beach. The putting on these Poana greens are going to be pretty tough. So you really just have to get really close and then hope you land some of your putts. The field is incredibly tough. There's an incredibly tough field for the first signature event of the year. I've moved Brooks Koepka down in my rankings. I was okay drafting him at ADP, but he's continued to fall. So it's good to look at Brooks. He's probably been the biggest faller out of the second round. ADP right now is about 15. He's been steady falling. And so I think Ludwig is kind of like a third round pick for me, so I'm not really getting a ton of them. I think Koepka is kind of like a 4 or 5 pick for me right now in his current state. He's just not really gaining strokes on the field in what we've seen from him so far. This is what I wanted to tell you guys also. Between Chris Gotterup, obviously the name to watch. He's won 2 of his 3 starts on the tour this year. The guy is a killer. He's the number 1 strokes gained off the tee player on the PGA Tour right now. And when you're that good off the tee, I mean, he was losing strokes to the field putting at the Waste Management and still won. I think he was losing strokes on approach at the Sony when he won that, and still. So I mean, this guy is just on fire. Rose, Siwoo Kim go, both good picks. I'm really tempted to just go Patrick Reed, and I think I will. So I've drafted a good amount of teams already. I've been drafting the whole draft season. This thing's been open for a couple weeks. Almost a month at this point, I think. So I've got teams that have a lot of the exposure to what the best picks were before we started getting into the season. Now we're into the season, we have new information. Like, we need to be changing our draft strategy to new information. It's a long season. Guys who are getting hot now might not be the same guys who are hot later in the season. So just because Gotterup is destroying and melting faces right now doesn't mean he's going to be the top guy come the Open. But actually, he finished 3rd at the Open last year. I think he was 3rd or 4th, and he won the Genesis Open the week before. So all that to say, it's a long season. A lot of things can change, but I do want to chase the risers. I want to chase the hot players. Patrick Reed is playing better than all of the players that are getting drafted around him right now, except for like Siwoo Kim. So Siwoo Kim chasing him, Gotterup priority pick in the 3rd round. He might start going in the 2nd round sooner than later. I would take Gotterup and Reed over Koepka right now. I would take Siwoo Kim over Koepka. And then you just have guys who are just really good. And it might not be playing hot right now, but like Cantlay, Morikawa, English, these are just really good draft picks in this format. Guys who can play well at majors, play well in strong field tournaments. I think I will end up probably just going Lowry. Not afraid to click the Irishman, Shane Lowry. It's going to come right back to me. I think with the next one, this could be a team where I go Gerard. Connors, of course, I've been talking him up. We looked, in his last 20 majors, Connors has 10 top 25s. He's very consistent. Sepp Straka's just a good golfer. Spieth, haven't seen a lot out of him. Harman's been falling, even though he's been good at the majors. Cameron Smith, I'm going to go either Day or Gerard. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull up Ryan Gerard and just bet on the future of the game. So this team that I've drafted tonight really encapsulated kind of like my current thinking, my current rankings adjustments, what's happened the first 4 weeks of the PGA season, and I want to get Goddard up on as many teams as possible. So his ADP 17 right now. I got him at pick 17. He's going to start going in the second round. Goddard's going to be a top 12 pick before we know it. And if he keeps this up, people are catching on. So that's one thing. I'm reviewing some of my early exposures and then kind of adjusting to the current players who are overperforming and who look like they're going to have really, really good seasons on the tour. In the context of, the guys who win majors typically have played in them before, have performed before, and you still want to go for like the tournament history as like a baseline of what you would expect. Winning the Sony is nothing close to winning, at Augusta. Is Spieth washed, says Hartman. People have been asking that I'll easily take Spieth here. He's not qualified for, which is unfortunate, for the US Open, which is the only major he hasn't won. And so he needs to qualify for the US Open at some point. He's currently 89th in the world. People have been asking, is Spieth washed for a long time now? And in short, no. Spieth can still get around in some of these tournaments and get his head into it. But when was his last? Let's go at Spieth real quick. Spieth's last win on tour, was it the 2023 Valero? 2024 Valero? No. The 2022 Heritage. What about, I thought he won in 2023. 2022 Heritage. It's been a few years. Jason Day hasn't won on the tour since like 2021. So is Jason Day washed? Is another question too. But Spieth gets I feel like Spieth gets more hate because of how good he was early in his career. And he's still young. He still has plenty of time. I think Spieth, let's look at this. So not look at the last 25 starts. Not great getting cut at the Phoenix Open where he's done well in the past. He did okay at Sony. He's only played 2 events this year. He performs better at the majors. So I have a pretty good exposure to Spieth. I have a pretty good exposure to Harman. They haven't really started the year off strong, but I think they've got a track record and can perform well in the strong fields. Pearson Coody is a player, of course, that everyone's excited about. He's currently on pace to be qualified for all of the majors based on his world ranking. Oh, and then Hartman, I did update today the ADP, the world ranking, and the current qualifications in the Google sheet for all of the golfers. So if you've got an older version, I update it every Tuesday usually, but I ended up updating it today. Michael Thorbjornsen is one of my biggest risers in my rankings. He's currently qualified for every event with his status. Thorbjornsen right now, if I can find the right golfer, he's ranked, what is he, ranked 43rd in the world. So he just popped into, with his tied for third, gaining 3.3 strokes on the field. At the Phoenix, gained 2 strokes on the field at the Farmers. Thor Bjornsson, a guy that I drafted a decent amount of in the scramble because I was pretty excited about him just as a season-long prospect. He's now qualified for the majors, where previously he was not qualified for the majors. I think he was in maybe one of them. Now he's in all four of them. But if he starts to fall and loses, if he gets cut in an event or two and loses some of his world ranking, he can also fall out of the major. So there's some risk, especially taking a guy like that in round 9. But I have faith that he's a good golfer. He's going to continue to compete and contend, and I think he can maintain a top 50 world ranking the rest of the season. Similar story for like Matt McCarty, the exact same kind of situation. Sam Stevens. So these are guys I've ranked very highly and currently qualified for a bunch of events. 2 of my highest exposures. Right now, I'm kind of torn between McCarty and Stevens. I've got a lot of exposure to both of them. I might be able to. I don't know. I don't know if I can get both. I'll go with McCarty first. This is like a debate I've had in most of my drafts when I get to round 10. Who do I go with first? It used to be between McCarty, Stevens, Haotong Lee, and Cootie for a while there, but Cootie's rising up even higher. Guys I like right now, like Rasmus Niergaard Peterson, Christopher Reeton, Wrighton, I should say. Wrighton is and Niergaard Peterson are qualified for right now all of the majors based on their world ranking. So Niergaard Peterson is 54 in the world, but he's was already qualified for the Masters, so he's getting into all the events right now. And where's Reeton? Reeton is also already qualified for the Masters and the Open. He's 38th in the world. Yeah, Hartman. You should. So usually you can look for updates every Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday evening, but I was a little bit behind this week. As you can see, I'm not in my normal setup, not in my normal spot. So just getting that in today. And there's some movement. And I think what's happened, we're 4 events in to the PGA Tour season. There's some things we need to pay attention to, some movement, some players like Thor Bjornsson, who are now qualified that previously weren't. So I was fading, just not drafting Thor Bjornsson a lot. I think Sahith Theegala is another guy. I actually have a watch list sheet in the Albatross tab. There's a watch list sheet. Started with Andy Sullivan at the end of January, and then I'll get to some of the other names that I've been updating it with. Here I'll go Wrighton, and then my last pick. This is where it gets tough because I feel like I am looking for a new name. I don't mind Billy Horschel, but I haven't loved the way he's. Nothing crazy with Horschel right now. He's not going to be qualified for the Masters. I want guys who are playing in the Masters at least. So like Valimaki, Grazerman, Kiefer, even McKibben is all right. With Jake Knapp, scroll down and find Knapp. He's a name. Knapp's not qualified for the Masters. He's only qualified for 2 of the 4 events, and it's conditional. Like he's not actually fully qualified yet. He's just on track. So he's a risky pick for me, even though I like Jake Knapp. The Højgaards are both rising. So Nikolai Højgaard is a player who's now 50th in the world. He's now qualified for all of the majors, on track to be. He's already qualified for the Open, but now he's also qualified for the 3 other majors based on his rankings. But Rasmus and Nikolai Højgaard, people like them a lot. They're pretty popular names, so they've been getting drafted already, and so their ADP is already pretty high. But they honestly should be like guys that were going in the last 2 rounds. I think I'm fine with Valimaki. Grazerman's probably a good pick too. So in the sheet, and I've been looking for other scroll down names who are now qualified for more events, but Brennan, like you said, Hartman, Jaden Trey Shaper, he's the was previously has been the top ranked South African in the world, but he's kind of fallen a little bit. And he was qualified, but he just lost his eligibility, or he's on the bubble to be qualified for the Masters because he's 51st in the world. Nikolai Højgaard bumped him out. Other than that, I mean, McKibben, who plays on Live, he is qualified for the Masters and the Open, and then he's on track to be qualified for the PGA. He's 82nd in the world, but he's not on track to be qualified for the US Open currently. Pot Heaters, a guy I've drafted a few times. He's kind of hasn't made his mark on the current season. It gets tough. It gets tough down here. Zach Johnson's a guy who isn't always, he's at the end of his career. He's not always good in a lot of events, but he's played okay at the majors over the years. He at least plays well. Of course, he's got a green jacket. He at least plays well at Augusta. He finished 8th there last season. He's currently qualified at Augusta, for life, having a green jacket. And Open, but he doesn't really have any good history at the Open over the last 5 seasons. So Zach Johnson's an interesting name. I have not picked him yet, but he's one that, if he gets a win on the season somehow, or he can qualify for more of the majors, and he has that kind of caliber, he's a previous major winner. Yeah, what's up, Jeff? How we doing, brother? Good to see you. Thanks. We just wrapped up the first Albatross of the night. I like this team. We'll take a look at the team I drafted. We'll take a look at the team that Hartman drafted out of the 3 spot. Keeper last round, I like. I think Keeper is a good up-and-comer. Doesn't have all the tournament history, of course. Hasn't played on the Pro Tour. This is his first full season on the Pro Tour. But Keeper is an up-and-comer and name to watch. It's kind of hard for some of those types of guys to do exceptionally well in a major this early in their career. And when they do really well in a major this early in their career, you hear about it. Like Ludwig Oberg. Not only did he win at Torrey Pines last year for the Genesis, he previously won on tour before that, and he has 2 top 10s at Augusta each of the last 2 seasons. So like Ludwig, people are obsessed with. He kind of did that thing. That's like the top end of the outcome trajectory for a guy like Kiefer, I think. But it shouldn't really be expected, but it's possible. So that's why Kiefer should be qualified for these majors. He's draftable in that way. But you see where Ludwig goes. He gets overdrafted because of all the hype on him. The expectation's so high. I don't mind the Oberg click either. I'm slightly fading Oberg. I'm taking him a little bit later, but just because there's guys that I think just either have already won a major, like Fitzpatrick, that I like a little bit more, or guys who haven't won a major, but just like him are right on the cusp of getting one, like Henley, Young, Hovland, McIntyre. I'm fading Spawn a little bit this year too. Some people are wondering if he was a one-hit wonder, kind of a flash in the pan. I think it would be tough for him to repeat the success he had from the second half of last season onward. But I don't mind the Spawn pick. I guess we're diving right into Hartman's team here. Let's see. Jeff says Shaper is in the field for the magical Kenya Open. It's a weak field, and he finished top 5 there last year. Could easily be a top 50 again in a couple weeks. Yeah, it's a good point. He's on my watch list for sure. For sure, he's a bubble guy. Jeff, our Kenyan correspondent, drafted a unicorn. Rom Fleetwood team over the weekend. Nice. Yeah, I don't mind Ron Fleetwood. So I mean, I have Fleetwood's another guy. I put Fleetwood in the category with like Henley and Cam Young that haven't won a major yet, but are on the cusp. You could argue Fleetwood's a little bit better than those guys, but yeah, Fleetwood's going to be one of my lesser owned players. I just go Shoffley and Rom over Fleetwood, but I have some Fleetwood, and I don't want to have I don't want to have like absolutely no Fleetwood. I'm just kind of getting overexposed to guys I think are a little bit better of a bet. Damn, I'm a Ludwig Slappy. Yeah, yeah, everyone's a Ludwig Slappy. It's hard not to be. Oberg, it just has that it factor. Everyone likes him. Everyone's excited about him. But I'll still draft. I drafted him a lot last year. I've drafted him in the past. I don't think he's a bad click. I just like other players around him a little more. But it's hard to know. I mean, if Ludwig comes out and gets a green jacket, he'll be worth the admission price. Oh yeah. So let's review Hartman's team, my team, and then I'm going to go back to my Albatross sheet, which I share with all YouTube channel members, the premium members. If you join on a monthly membership here, I give you access to my Albatross Google Sheet, my data model, my big board data model, all the good stuff, football for PGA. As a token of my appreciation, I'll share my personal models that I build and the data that I work with in my analysis with you, something that I do for myself to help me draft. And so I'm happy to share it with the premium YouTube members. And thanks for everyone for subscribing, for liking the stream, for being here. Appreciate the channel support. And I've got some big news to share with you guys later. Towards the end of the stream tonight, I have huge news to share. All right, so let's get right into Hartman's team. John Rahm, killer, love it. Oberg, slappy. Spawn, ran hot last season. Can he keep it going? Cantlay, incredible pick. Always a great value. Really good at the majors. Really good on approach. I think Cantlay is a good pick for one and dones this week at Pebble Beach. I think Hartman, you drafted Justin Thomas last week too. So Justin Thomas, 24 hours ago, got the clearance that he's all good to resume practicing golf. So only in the last 24 hours is Justin Thomas practicing golf, full swings, hitting the driving range, ramping up. He's not playing at Pebble Beach. He's not playing at the Genesis next week. He's aiming to start his season, his debut at the Cognizant, which is down the street from his house in Florida. And so will he start that week? We don't know yet. He thinks he might. And I think the upside is that you're getting one of the best golfers in the world in this draft, in a tournament, in a format, in a tournament, which that's what you want. You want guys who can win majors, who have already won majors. That's Justin Thomas. I think he's priced at kind of near what his ceiling would be if he was fully healthy. If he was fully healthy, he'd be going in the third round. He's currently going around the fifth round. It's just he could, and he's not fully healthy. So it's pretty much you're paying almost full price, considering ADP is pretty flexible in these smaller drafts. But 24 hours sitting in Pebble Beach. So I'm just being very cautious with back injuries with Justin Thomas. He had a micro discectomy like 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I forget how long it's been, but it hasn't been that long. We still have a while to go. We have exactly 2 months until the Masters. 2 months from 2 days ago. So can he get better? Yes. But even if he's back, is there any promise that he's going to be at full strength? What if he feels something before in warm-ups, not even just before the Masters, but in other tournaments leading up? What if he takes more of a break? So with a player like Justin Thomas, I don't have a lot of exposure to him. I'm a little bit surprised he's not falling in drafts, but I think it's his name and his brand and his value that's keeping him up here. Kind of similar with Sung J M, who I haven't heard any news on Sung J M yet, but he had a wrist injury, and Sung J is currently tanking all of your scramble teams if you drafted him. I didn't have a high exposure to Sung J, but we don't know when he's going to start this season. So this is I know I'm up here and I block the players when I do it. I always have to remember this on Data Golf that I'm actually blocking it. But Sungjae Im, yeah, I've got some of the high dollar scramble teams where I thought, okay, I don't have a lot of exposure in my volume drafts for the scramble to Sungjae Im, so let me get some in the high dollar. And has that backfired? I think so. Anyways, injured players: Justin Thomas, Sungjae Im, caution. Alex Noren, totally fine pick. I might be a little bit more partial to like Jason Day and Cam Smith, but this is kind of the same tier. I love Akshay Bhatia. I think he's a fun click in this range. I'm not afraid to go Jordan Spieth. I did that on my team, even if he's washed, according to some. You know what I was thinking of? I know it was the RPC Heritage was his last win, but it was actually a Valero that he was playing in where he kind of like crumbled 2 years ago. And that's the event that I was thinking of. It wasn't a victory. It was the opposite. It was him being washed. Kitayama's a fun pick. I will take some Kitayama. Andrew Novak is fine in this range. I don't have any problem with it. He deserves to go in this tier. But see, now both of the Højgaards are going now in the Rasmus is going in the late 30s. Nikolai goes to pick 43. They are two golfers who just, for whatever reason, people, just like they love Ludwig, love the Højgaards and have been drafting these guys a ton in the Albatross over the years. And they get a little bit overdrafted. There's some name cachet to that, but I think they're okay. They're okay picks. I'd rather have like Cootie than both of them. I might even have Thor Bjornsson, in this exact same tier as them. So the fact that he goes later, I like McCarty just as much as them. He goes later. It's interesting. Michael Kim, he doesn't traditionally do great at the major events, but he's should be qualified for all of them. So that has its own value. Steve Gall is on my watch list. He's played all right to start the season. He could do something. Pendrith, I'm a little weary of. He just fell out of the top 50, so he's no longer qualified for the Masters. But he's not a bad golfer. He's just he's a little. I think he's only qualified for 2 of the events right now, which scares me a little bit. And one of them not being the Masters just hurts. That if you're only going to have 11 out of 12 golfers show up at the Masters. Poston, I'll pick on Poston a little bit. I have not drafted Poston, I don't think, one time, the Post man. But to find him on our list here, his ADP is always higher than I expect because he gets drafted because people recognize him, and he's not a bad golfer, but he doesn't do great at the majors. I just saw it. Where'd he go? Poston. Poston's only qualified for one major right now, and it's the PGA, which like everyone's qualified for the PGA. He finished top 5 there last year, so he's not bad there, but he's not qualified for the Masters. Could he be? There's still some time. He's 61st in the world, but he's not qualified for the Open. He's not qualified for the U.S. Open. So Poston's a little bit of a risky pick, but it's a last round pick. So, and things can change. I don't hate it. I would just, I will hammer Poston in rounds 11 and 12 if he becomes qualified for the Masters. Who else was I getting at? Kind of on that same note, a player who gets way overdrafted is Denny McCarthy. Denny McCarthy's 83rd in the world right now, hasn't done anything this season, not qualified for the Masters. He is qualified for the PGA where he had a top 10 last season. Nice. But he's also not qualified for the US Open or the Open. And, he's not a bad golfer. He's had some good run, but he's not playing hot right now, and he's not qualified for a bunch. So he's getting way overdrafted. Berger is getting slightly overdrafted, only qualified for 2 events. Knapp only qualified for 2, a little bit overdrafted based on his name. Figala right now only qualified for 2 majors, a little bit overdrafted, but he's risen from 125 in the world to 92 in the world. He's making some progress. I just don't know how much time he has if he doesn't win a tournament or do really well. So he's conditionally qualified for the PGA and the Open. He has terrible Open history, and I mean, he has one top 10 in Augusta, but he's not qualified there right now. Min Woo Lee, I have a bunch of. He just is no longer in the top 50 in the world. He lost his qualification for the Open, so that's not great, but I think he can regain it. But he right now is, if he continues to play badly, he could lose more conditional qualification to other events. And you guys already know that Joaquin Niemann is the biggest fade for me on the board because he's only qualified for the PGA right now, and it's going to be tough for him to qualify for the others without the live exemption, which is what he used last year because he was the best player on the live tour. He got exempted into the majors. But if he's not the best player on the live tour when the time comes around, there's just a huge risk that he doesn't get in. 20-second pick clocks are the reason why ADPs as quickly as they should. Kurt Kiyama, 2021 Magical Kenya Open runner-up. Oh, good to know. It's our Kenyan correspondent, Jeff. I had Kiefer Cute and I panicked. Hartman, excuses. No, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, in the late rounds like this, just varying it up also has value. I kind of get sick of taking the same certain guys. There's some safety, there's some floor in drafting guys who already are qualified for the Masters and a lot more of the events. But what typically happens though is a random player, let's just throw out a name like a Davis Riley, will win an event right before the Masters or right after it, and then be qualified for all the rest of the majors the rest of the year. And he goes like severely underdrafted, and maybe he even does well at one of the majors, finishes in like the top 5 or top 10. So there is value to just kind of scrolling down. I don't know if I would draft Phil Mickelson, even though he's qualified for 3 of the majors. I guess he's going to play them. I'm not really drafting Phil Mickelson. I haven't been drafting him for years. My team out of the 5 spot, I went Xander, Henley, Goddard, go get Goddard. Patrick Reed, go get him too. 2 of the biggest risers. Lowry, Ryan Gerard, who I like a lot. Spieth, Harmon, Thor Bjornsson, now conditionally qualified for all 4 majors. Bacardi, Wrighton, and Valimaki. Yeah, Niemann should be undrafted. I'll take Niemann in like the 11th or 12th round in some of my drafts because he could end up getting into some stuff. So we don't know for the live exemption yet. So what happens is, and it says this if you go to like PGAtour.com and you go to the player qualifications for like the majors, the players, and they have people who are listed in for signature events. At the bottom of the list of names, they have what it takes to get into all of the majors, and so there's like different kind of there's a ton of detail. There's almost too much to keep track of. It's like, oh, the highest amateur in the world ranking. There's this and that. They take players from the Latin American tour, the Japanese tour. They get into certain majors. They bring in like these guys who kind of get into like 1 or maybe 2 majors, but aren't really top guys on the tour, and they don't end up usually doing very well. So they're not really getting drafted. But then there's a live exemption, which is, I think it's the top player on the live tour, like the week before the major gets in, if they're not already exempt. And then it just like, if they're already exempt, it passes the baton to the next guy. So that's how Niemann got into all of the majors last year. He was the number 1 player on the live tour last year. And so it's almost impossible to predict that when live tour just kicked off and they've only had 1 event. And Elvis Smiley won that event. He's a guy on my watch list. Let's go to the watch list next. He beat out John Rahm in the wasn't it? And they're in I think they're in Riyadh was the first event. Yeah, exactly. Yep, Elvis Smiley's off to the best start. 1 of 1. We all will, Hartman. We will all learn one day. Appreciate you guys for being here. Hope you're having a great night. Let's jump right into my tracker. So you'll see this, Hartman, in the watch list. And then this is Andy Sullivan. Put myself here for a half second. I threw Andy Sullivan on the watch list as of the end of January because he is in the top 100 for the OWGR. He's not going to be in the Masters, but he is conditionally qualified at that time for the other three majors. So that's something to watch out for. He finished second at the Hero Dubai. Andy Sullivan plays a lot on the DP World Tour. We can check in on him now. I'm actually a little curious. Currently, he's 106 in the world, and he lost his conditional qualification. Like, he's not on track for the PGA Championship anymore, is what this shows. Maybe I should just, well, it's fine. Okay, but yeah, just trust me on that. Andrew Putnam is another guy I've been tracking. He started the season off with a second at the American Express. I think he's currently qualified for like two of the majors. Højgaard was on my watch list. He was previously only guaranteed the Open and also on track for the PGA, but everyone's pretty much getting into the PGA. Now he went from 70 in the world to he's top 50, so he's also into the Masters and the US Open. So Højgaard's on the watch list. He's now a guy. He was already getting drafted, but he was getting overdrafted. Pearson Coody was on the watch list because of his second at the Farmers, and he's on track to be qualified for all the majors. Grabs a lot of Pearson Coody. He's been rising a bunch. Theegala, he's still only qualified for two of the majors, but potentially he could rise. He's on the watch list. Elvis Smiley's on the watch list as of this week. He's currently qualified. He's already in the Open. He's currently on track to be qualified for the PGA and the US Open. Based on his world rank, 77 in the world, he's number one on Live Golf right now because he just won at Riyadh. Why am I saying Riyadh? Riyadh. I need to learn how to pronounce cities and names correctly, but Riyadh. I knew it didn't sound right in my head. I was combining that with like one of the other cities where they have an event. So Elvis Smiley, number one at Riyadh. And he beat out John Rahm, which is pretty impressive, actually. So next up, they're playing Live Golf at Adelaide. Okay, let's jump into some of our prep for the Pebble Beach. I'm not going to go too long. We're going to do a few of those drafts tonight for the Underdog Open. But let's shift gears for Pebble Beach, starting with our Greg Ducharme Twitter thread of the week. I'll go ahead and do this. And then also I have big news to tell you guys. I'll keep alluding to it. I won't forget, but I have big news, and I'll share that with you guys soon for the channel, for me. So our first signature event of the year, we're at Pebble Beach. The field is loaded. The course is iconic. It's going to be special. I'm super excited. Let's take a look at this. Best plays, winning trends. There's 80 players in the field. And I guess I could probably zoom in just a little bit more. Nice. Okay. 80 players in the field. They'll play 3 rounds at Pebble and 1 either tomorrow or Friday at Spyglass Hill, which is just, you can walk from Pebble Beach to Spyglass. Pebble Beach, it has, there's only one water hazard on the entire course, but it's a big one. It's called the ocean. So got to watch out for that. Don't fall into the ocean off the tee. Spyglass is not on the coast exactly. It's kind of more inland in the foresty area. And there's some elevation changes, which is pretty fun on these courses. It's right next to Monterey Bay. So Pebble, it's the second shortest course on tour. It's less than 7,000 yards. So guys who are long off the tee are going to have very short approach shots in, 100 yards in, 120 yards in. I think the average approach onto the greens here is like less than 150 yards, like 140 yards or something. They have the smallest greens on the tour, 3,500 square feet, tiny, tiny little greens you have to hit. So you have to be very accurate. And then, yeah, the people don't always drive off the green here. They'll use a 3-wood, a 7-wood. They'll hit an iron. There's been majors hosted at Pebble Beach. I'm thinking back to when Tiger Woods, I think, won at Pebble Beach. I think that was that a PGA championship? Kind of ranks in the middle for difficulty, but yeah, players are hitting fewer drivers. Although 3 of the last 5 winners were top 10 in driving distance for the week. So Chris Gotterup, Rory McIlroy, which of course, I mean, I'm saying Chris Gotterup is a big-time driver. So is Thor Bjornsson, who's in the field. But Rory won this event last year. He's one of the best drivers in the entire tour, right? Even with the small greens, the field still hits over 65% of the greens, which is middle of the pack. Iron play is important. The last 5 winners were finishing top 20 in strokes gained approach. The biggest challenge is the putting, if not the weather, which could be the wind coming off the coast. It can whip up in an instant. The greens have ranked inside the top 10 in difficulty from these distances for the last 5 seasons. So 4 to 8 feet, inside 10 feet, and 20 to 25 feet. So tough putting. Putting and scrambling have been key to the last 5 winners. 4 of the last 5 winners were top 10 in scrambling. The last 5 were top 18 in strokes gained putting. Spyglass is pretty similar. It's a bit longer. The greens are a bit larger. The par 5s are more challenging at Spyglass. Yeah, Spyglass is a tough course. It's played more difficult than Pebble in 4 of the last 5 seasons. So for Greg, his top plays, he's leaving out Scotty and Rory. He thinks Scotty's going to win, but he doesn't have time to explain why. Let's just move on to some of the other players that could have a great week. So this is perfect for our one and dones. If you want to burn, you don't want to burn Scotty or Rory at Pebble Beach. Save them for a bigger event with a bigger purse. Victor Hovland, hitting the ball well, tied for 10th last week. And he has good strokes gained approach. He's 5th from the 125 to 150 range, which is important. And gaining strokes around the green. So Hovland, Justin Rose, of course, had a hot start. He's been dominating after he won at Torrey Pines. His dominating win there. Pebble Beach is his second best historical golf course. So I'm using Justin Rose in one of my one and dones this week. 3 straight top 11 finishes here. Henley, another guy I'm using in a one and done. He finished top 8 at the American Express. This course is a better fit for him. He's a great approach player. So strokes gained on approach. He's top 36 in every category from 75 to 150 yards in approach. And he got 5th here last year. Maverick McNeely, interesting. It's a course that's good fit for him. And he's a POA putter. So he putts well on this putting surface. 2 career top 5s at Pebble. He's a West Coast guy. Jason Day also has his best course history here. 10th straight top 25. So if you haven't already used Jason Day in your one and done, I've already used him. I used him at the Amex. Maybe I should have saved one of them for here, but you don't even have to necessarily use Jason Day in your one and done. He hasn't won an event on the tour since 2021, but it's a good fit for him. So that's kind of the long, short version of it. That's what Greg gives us in the preview this week in his Twitter thread. And I think there's some good context there. Let's, blind everyone with a tournament predictor from rickrungood.com. This is his premium tool, one of his many tools. And this is ranked by percent chance to win. So Scotty Scheffler had a 28.5% chance to win at the American Express. He did. He's got a 24.4% chance to win here at Pebble Beach. I think he probably does end up winning. I mean, there's only so many guys that can beat Scotty Scheffler. And Scotty Scheffler got third last week at the Waste Management, where he had like his worst Thursday he's had in years on the tour. He still makes the cut. He still comes back strong, almost wins the tournament. So you can never count out Scotty. In fact, if he has a bad day, you should count on a bounce back. Russell Henley is number 2 in odds to win this event. So I think he's a great pick, a great fit here, like we just learned. Rory, who's the returning winner from last year. Rose. Corey Connors up high on this list. Xander Schauffele, obviously pretty high up here. Just a all-around really strong golfer, really strong field. Hideki shows up again. So Hideki lost in his playoff hole last week. Can he bounce back here at Pebble Beach? I don't know. Spawn took a pretty good fit here, surprisingly. Two metrics that I like to look at here. It's like the percent chance to win and the percent chance to make the cut. Making the cut super important for these Underdog Opens that we're about to draft. Where, well, wait a second. This is a no cut event. This is one of the no cut. Am I crazy? Percent chance to make the cut in the simulation. Okay, we have to look into this real quick. I'm going to pull it up on my other monitor. Pebble Beach cut or no cut? I thought it was no cut. Yeah, it's a no cut event. See, I was going insane there for a second. Every week that we've been drafting the Underdog Open, it's important to draft players who make the cut. But yeah, they're playing all 4 rounds this time. So every golfer is going to make it to the end. There's no cut. So let's swerve a little bit. Because it's a no cut event, it's one of the, there's only like some of the signature events have cuts. Like the invitationals have cuts. This one does not have a cut. So I'm going to focus on percent chance to win and percent chance for a top 10 are 2 of the metrics that I think should matter a lot when trying to win the Underdog Open. So we're looking at our winners, and it's pretty obvious. It's the good golfers. Nico Echeverria stands out. I wouldn't expect him to be so high. Goddard's a little bit lower than I would expect. Otherwise, Higo's pretty high. Let's do percent top 10. Give it a second to load. See if the names change at all. If it's the exact same names that we're expecting for guys to win. It's pretty much the same. It's not too different. I think Shane Lowry got a little bump. Some guys got a little bit of a bump there. Noren shows up, Ben Griffin. And then value plays. Value plays, it's, for DFS salary based, is going to help us figure out the lower dollar amount guys that are good values here that have a higher chance to win than you would expect based on their DFS salary. We see Tony Finau popping here. So Tony Finau could be a scroll down pick. Novak, Vegas is interesting. Nico pops pretty big there. So these are guys you could take in the 5th and 6th round of the Underdog Open. Scroll down guys. Bud Cauley, Matty Schmid, Brian Campbell. I don't know if I'll draft Brian Campbell. Chris Kirk's interesting. Hoagie, Glover, Schenk is interesting. So you're asking, why? How does a guy like Adam Schenk get into this event? It's the first signature event of the year. And so any player that won a PGA Tour event in 2025 gets entry into this event. And it's all of the players who are in the Aon Swing 5 and the next 10. So you'll remember those qualification as we were doing research for the Scramble. That's how some of these guys are getting in here. Creo pops. Interesting. Okay. Essentially, the field is extremely hard, and no one's getting cut, and you want the best golfers. the TLDR version. Put me back up here. Let's go ahead and jump right into an Underdog Open. And I've had a busy week, so I haven't even done one yet this week. It's my first one of the week. I'm excited to get into it. Location error. Let me do a quick refresh. I'm not doing the highest volume on the weeklies this week, but I still want to get a few of these in. So let's see how fast we can get through some of these and get a few different teams. You got to have at least. I'm only gonna feel good if I can get like 2 or 3 Scotty Scheffler teams. So that means I probably have to do maybe 10 of these. I didn't get a chance to do the par three or the putting green, which is the $3 and the $5 versions of this. Which I usually like to do those early in the week. The $5 one fills the quickest. It opens first. And let's go back. I don't think the other ones are open right now for PGA. The big Albatross dropped. I might have to do a couple of those at some point, but those will be open for a while. So I'll probably draft those like the week before the Masters, or if it does fill, right before it fills. I was thinking that through the other day when the big Albatross came open. Probably just wait, just to give myself the best shot at having the most information. I wouldn't mind drafting one right now, considering I've done so much draft prep. I feel like I'm in a good spot for it, but yes, yeah, just right. The bunch of live golfers will get in because they're regional qualifying. It's hard to predict, and if they're only in one event or two events, they're kind of one-offs. No one else is going to have them in the field either, so it's not super worth it. Yeah, run it, big Albatross. Let's get one right now. We could. Drafting in the 5 spot. Obviously can't get Scotty. Siwoo Kim's a hot name. Henley, Rose, Goddard, Fleetwood, Xander. It's Fleetwood's first event on the PGA Tour this year. He has been playing. I've got Fleetwood up here in Data Golf. I'm pulling him up. Fleetwood's been playing in the DP World Tour, and he's done okay in his 2 events. I'm going to go with Henley first on this team. So I've got a Henley team I'm building out now. Can I pair him with one of these guys? Well, not Goddard for Hovland. I'm not afraid to go Rose, though. Yeah, exactly. No Scotty, this team's dead. The optimal lineup last week was a Scotty lineup. I could bring it up on my phone, but it was Scotty, Goddard, Becky. I forget exactly how to fill it out to win, but let's see. Coming back around here. Hmm. I just noticed. I don't think StreamYard is streaming to. It didn't post to YouTube for some reason. I was wondering, or not YouTube. It didn't post to. Of course, it post to YouTube. It didn't post to Twitter for some reason. Ooh, why is Vaughn so far down? Cam Young, or McIntyre? I just forgot everything we did the research on because I got distracted. Day, Spawn. Oh no, Cam Young's pretty far down. Oh, there he is. It's not terrible. He's fine. Totally fine. Connors, Spawn. Connors went right. No, Connors goes so late in these drafts. He really does. This is the first one, so let me just get kind of guys more at ADP. Do I want Day or do I want Spawn? It says Spawn's a little better than Day. Sure. I might be able, like, who knows what who they're gonna draft here. Yeah, Day goes right after him. Cantlay is great at 16. Did I do something? I'll have to check StreamYard later. I don't know why I didn't post to Twitter like it normally does. Yeah, what's up, Boohams? How you doing, brother? Are there any strats you would use in weeklies if you know your opponents are using the same rankings, or is that irrelevant? Yeah, people are auto drafting with ETR. I don't really know how to get around that. I think you can just scroll a little bit because they can't scroll when they're auto drafting. And if they're not auto drafting, but they're just kind of like consciously drafting off ranks, they're still probably not going to get that far down. I think in these signature events where there's only 80 players in the field, 80 is still a lot relative to getting, what is it, 36 drafted. So there's still going to be 50 players who don't get drafted. But in the larger field events where there's like 120 in the field, I think scrolling has even more value. And scrolling earlier, like scrolling for like your fourth, fifth, and sixth picks, can have some value. Like Nico shows a lot of value here, and at least what I've got. So I'll go Corey Connors, so I know is good, and then like Nico over Cootie, Lowry, and Gerard. Though I don't know because why wouldn't Gerard show up higher here? Doesn't have the right course fit. Ryan Gerard is down here, not likely to win this event. Interesting. 12% top 10 and 10,000 simulations versus Nico is at 12%. Is that the same? It's like the same percent, 12%, 12%, but only 0.5% chance to win it versus Nico's at 0.16% chance to win it. So for some reason, the simulation is just like Nico 3.5 times more than Gerard, who's been playing great golf. Interesting. There's a lot of different like course fit dynamics there. Huhames or Hartman? Question for one of you guys. On Twitter, is my live stream feed going to my Twitter right now? If you look at like my Twitter page, because I don't know why, but I can't tell that it is when I look at my own Twitter. So I think that it's probably not, but I don't have a way to confirm that. Because usually when I live stream anything, it goes to YouTube and it goes to Twitter. I don't see it there. So let me know if you have if you're able to look. This team for the Underdog Open, my first one of the week, Henley Rose, great combo. Young, Spawn, Connors, Nico Echeverria. Funny story. So this is a Pro-Am as well. There are amateur players who are paired with the pros tomorrow. So Nico Echeverria is paired with Pau Gasol. Ricky Fowler is paired with Condoleezza Rice, who's actually like, she's like a 6 or an 8 handicap, I'm pretty sure, in her heyday. She's like a great golfer. What's up from X? Okay, sweet. Appreciate you, Hartman. The wrench, the mod. I guess it is there. I just can't see it on my end. Maybe I did something funky when I opened up too many browsers or something. Perfect time to drop some news. So, big news for the channel. This Friday night on Peter Overzet's DFS After Dark, which is his members only stream, I will be guesting. I will be joining Pete Overzet, and we're going to draft, or at least we're going to talk. I think we're going to draft an Albatross. We're going to talk Albatross. We're going to talk PGA Best Ball. And so this Friday night at 7, if you are a member of Pete Overzet's YouTube channel, come hang out. Come talk some golf with us. I'm excited to kind of show him around these streets, talk some ball. So I'm super excited. I haven't streamed with Pete yet. Big fan of his channel, his work. Of course, we all are. So hope if you guys are members of his channel that you, because it's for his premium. It's a premium show. It's for members only. But if you are a member, hope to see you there this Friday night. So big news. He just released the thumbnail on his YouTube channel today. I'm sure he'll be posting it sometime soon. Yeah, pretty pumped, pretty psyched. Let's get right into another one. Let's do another Underdog Open. I've got some things in the works for the golf streams. I've reached out to a few content creators in the golf space, and they've all been super friendly and open. So far, the only guys I've streamed golf with, I did a scramble with Mike from Mike's Money Picks, who is a friend of mine. I've also drafted. Oh hell yeah, we get a Scotty team. Let's go. Drafted NFL best ball teams with Mike over the last year, and then Nez. I had Nez on the channel 2 weeks ago for what was that? That wasn't for the. It was for the farmers. Nez came on for the farmers. We drafted some Albatross. Our underdog opens that week didn't win us any money, so it didn't strike gold there. But our Albatross teams are still alive. Obviously, the tournament's still open, so that was exciting. And then Byron from Back Nine Bets and the Mayo Media Network, Byron Lindeque. He's a great golf content creator and a super cool dude, super nice. He came on and we were drafting. I think that was scrambles. That was a while ago now. So that was super fun. That was here on the channel. But I've reached out to a few other golf content creators, guys in the space you know and love, and they've all been super receptive and open to collabing at some point. So I just kind of got to get my shit together, and I might have some more. I don't know if it'll be the standard weekly Wednesday night streams. I'm kind of going to cater to the guest schedule as much as I can for some of these guys who, you know, if we're doing Albatross, we can kind of do it any night of the week. But I know it's always fun to do it for me Wednesdays before the night before the tournament starts, because then you have more to talk about. But we'll see. I'll let you guys know for sure. But I've got some things in the works, and if you guys have any other golf fantasy content creators that you follow, even if they're not necessarily drafting best ball, but especially if they are, let me know, and I'll look into that. I've got a few names. I've got 3 guys I've reached out to that have all said, just let me know. We'll make something work. And now it's on me to kind of set that up and give them some timing options. And then there's one other guy that I haven't reached out to directly yet, but I know that he streams some of the PGA Best Ball golf content, and I got to reach out to him and connect. Jeff, do you even know in the Discord, like, because in the Discord, I'm pretty sure I'm like XX the Candyman XX or XX Chris Candyman XX. I'm like my Discord name. Some people don't even realize that's me. I mean, how could you not? But yeah, hit me up on Discord if you want. Yeah. Actually, Jeff, I'm actually sad that you said Joaquin Neiman and not Peter Malnati. You've really fallen off the last couple weeks. Disappointed, brother. I gotta be drafting Peter Malnati. Okay, this seems too obvious, right? Hideki, Schauffele, Rose, Henley, Spawn, Day, McNeely. Not Fitzpatrick. Oh, Hideki goes. Fitzpatrick. Oh, McNeely goes. Fitzpatrick and Cantlay. They're just good picks, but I need to double check. Fitzpatrick's kind of lower than I would expect. Where's Cantlay? Oh, Bjornsson. It's so hard to see names on this list. Why is Cantlay so far down? Bjornsson's far down too. I would control F it. For some reason, it doesn't really work on this. Where's Cantlay? I don't see Cantlay at all. I gotta find his projection. It can't be this low though. I don't know. I'm blind to seeing Patrick Cantlay. I'm cool though. I'll just go with Fitzpatrick and Cantlay. I know they're good. Fitzpatrick, I saw here. I was not very impressed with his odds to win. His odds for a top 10 are decent though. Where the hell is Patrick Cantlay? If I sort it by name, I can at least scroll down there. Patrick Cantlay has terrible odds to win this. That's interesting. Point 4. Interesting. I don't know why the Sims don't like Cantlay. No wonder I couldn't find him. I had to scroll down to because the worst odds to win this thing. I mean, there's guys who are 0%. Cootie's on that list, and he's getting drafted every single draft. So that's interesting. In 10,000 Sims, that means Cootie only won like 3 of them. That's crazy. In 10,000 simulations, Scotty won 2,000 of them. 2,400 of them. Holy shit! Scotty Scheffler is so good. That there was there was a couple. It wasn't even this year, and I think it was even going into last year. The difference between how good Scotty Scheffler is compared to the field versus any current NFL player, they comped it to as if Lamar Jackson threw for 10,000 yards and rushed for 8,000 yards. That's how much better Scotty Scheffler is than everyone else. You would have to have a player like Lamar Jackson have like 18,000 total yards, like all-purpose yards, to be as good. Berger was kind of popping. So was Morkala. Let me go find him real quick. Or am I crazy? Colin's fine. I'll take Colin first. I thought Berger was jumping up. I don't see him here now though. Bradley, Straka, English, Lowry. Oh, I took Gerard. Whoops. Well, now we'll take Morikawa. I just like Gerard. What? How is Gerard not having great simmed odds to win this? He wasn't so far down. I remember last time we were talking about him. Right next to Berger. Ryan Gerard. He must be higher. Huh. I don't see him. Keegan's high. Where's Keegan getting drafted? So Cootie only wins this like 3 times out of 10,000. or 30 times or something, whatever that super low number is. That's pretty interesting. Connors goes. Is Keegan Bradley not drafted yet? English is available. I feel like Keegan's going to be available too. Yeah, Keegan Bradley. Keegan Bradley won this thing. That would be 200 times in the simulation. No. Yeah. Yeah. 200 times. So it's definitely Cootie winning it 3 times then. So I'm not really scrolling down here, but I have a Scotty team, and I just want good golfers on it. Scotty Scheffler, Patrick Cantlay, Matt Fitzpatrick, Ryan Gerard, Colin Morikawa, and Keegan Bradley. I have to find Gerard on here. There he is, right under Vegas. So out of 10,000 sims, Gerard only won it 50 times. That's not great. But it's better than Cootie at 3 times. Interesting. Players who are getting drafted who are not going to win this thing versus, I mean, I feel like I want someone who's going to win it at least 100 times in 10,000 sims. So like Higo is kind of the cutoff that I want to keep in mind for the next draft. And it's hard to even draft a team with only guys above that because a lot of these players are just getting drafted. But Nico's available. Corey Connors goes super late. Corey Connors winning this thing 333 times in 10,000 sims is actually pretty interesting. I do want to be a little bit overexposed to Corey Connors, especially on a non-Scotty Scheffler team. So also, Jeff, I'm getting like a ton of Discord beeps from I'm assuming the Toxic Tower chat's popping off right now. Yay, accidental victory. Okay, hell yeah. I'll have to check out the suggestion that you sent, Jeff. I got that. I've been trying to connect with Chad Candles. I know he's in the golf streets. On an unrelated note, I reached out to Chad, and me and him have some scheduling difficulties, but we're going to get that together soon, I'm sure. And then, yes, Dylan from the Carter cast. I haven't reached out to him directly yet, but I do watch the Carter cast content with Dylan on there. Dylan's been ripping some draft streams for the Albatross, and I leave some comments on their videos, and I got to make that connection. I need to hit him up and get connected and draft with him. Yeah, he's a good guy. Malnati. Unfortunately, Peter Malnati's not in the field for Pebble Beach. Hell yeah, appreciate you, Jeff. Yeah, I have all of the Discord silence, except the Toxic Tower Discord is so new that I haven't had a chance to silence it yet, and I can tell after they ended their stream, there's a lot of activity in there right now because I keep getting a little doo-doo in my ear, and it's the only one that makes noise. Let's do draft number 3. How close is this to filling? It'll fill. This will fill by the morning. 7,000. When they started these, I think they were, or no, not 7,000. It's still 11,000. I think it's the same size. 10K up top. Yeah, it's the same size. I haven't done a lot of volume. I'm only doing anywhere from 8 to 15 weekly drafts for the first 4 tournaments. And this week, I'm kind of even going lower in volume just because of being kind of busy this week. And my best finish so far I've had two teams in the top 100, but I have not broken the top 50 yet. So I'm getting close. We've had some close calls. I think at one point I was winning $500, and that felt pretty cool. But the goal is to ship one of these, which is very hard to do. 11,000 person field, and there's a lot of people who are auto drafting off of ETR ranks and maybe even maxing it. Not a lot of people, but there was more than none. My busiest weeks, I'll probably get about 20 to 25 drafts in, and at different like dollar amounts too, like the $3, the $5, not just all $10. We'll have to see though. If I have a great week and we get like $1,000, I might just unload the next week and do a bunch more volume naturally. Yo, what's up, Steve? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here. Steve, I announced it a couple minutes back, but okay, let me make this pick. Do we just go Rory? Our tournament predictor says Henley and Rory. So if I can get Henley to come back around, I doubt I can, but Henley's ADP right now at 6, so you kind of want to be on the turn to get Henley. We already did that one time, though. Let me definitely go Rory here. So, Steve, this Friday night is a Peter Overzet members-only DFS After Dark stream that I'm going to be a guest on, and we're going to be doing some PGA content, some Albatross talks, some majors-only PGA talk. So I just mentioned that to the boys in the draft. But how's it going? It's going pretty awesome. Very excited for that. Siwoo Kim. Can't argue with it. Fleetwood, Justin Rose. I wonder why Fleetwood is going so high. He sends out nicely, not terrible. Henley, Rose, Shoffley, Hideki. Rose is already gone. Shoffley, Hideki. I mean, can't ignore Goddard. Hovland is just great. In this, yeah, Goddard's still winning 147 times at 10,000. Hovland is a bit more. Or was Hideki was really high up there. Hideki sims out at 260. Corey Connors, so still 333 wins out of those 10,000 sims. That's pretty interesting stuff. And Corey Connors has no ADP, so he must not be showing up in the ETR ranks for some reason. I don't understand. Oh, so close, but so far away. Henley almost comes back around. Hey, appreciate that, Steve. Yeah, I'm super stoked. First time doing content with Pete, so I know it'll be fun. Looking forward to it. Because of the subpar weather, that's probably true. That is probably true, Jeff. Actually, I need to look at the weather report for tomorrow. Not that it matters, not like I'm going to be there, but what's the weather looking like on Monterey Bay right now? Wow, Thorbjornsen going high, going pretty highly in this. I will go Hovland. Respect the Sims. Whoops. Classic mistake. Hovland was up here. McNeely, Day, Spawn, Connors, Keegan. McNeely already go? Yeah, I have him queued. Day. Spawn. I mean, Jason Day is kind of due for a win on the tour, and this is one of his best course history events. So it's not like that crazy to think that he could do really well. Cantlay and Fitzpatrick. Patrick Cantlay was showing up lower than I thought, which is surprising. Maybe it's just because his recent performance is not so great. And then Echeverria is just very surprising as well. Oberg gets highly drafted. We didn't have a chance at that. Sep's interesting. No, Oberg's still there. Go McNeely. Day Spawn, Bradley, Connors, Oberg, Sepp. Do I want to take any of those guys sooner than later? Day, Spawn, Bradley. I think I'll be able to get these. I don't know if I can get Day, but I can probably get Spawn and Bradley. And in my last pick, technically, I could technically get Bradley and Connors my last two picks. So maybe I throw up Oberg and Sepp just in case Day and Spawn are for some reason gone. And I'll get like one, if not two of these four golfers, and then I'll definitely be able to get one or two of these guys. It seems like Lowry was also showing up pretty highly here. At the same time, like English, and then Echeverria was just killing it in the Sims. Okay. Let's see. Oberg, Day, Classic. Catching about golf content. Hell yeah, Steve. Yeah. Perfect time of year. Spawn. Spawn makes it back. Let's go Spawn. Do I like Denny this week for a scroll? He'll be almost completely unowned with his ADP. So, I mean, I just don't know any better. Let's go to our good old Sims. Denny wins this thing 91 times out of 10,000 simulations. So it's pretty low odds. And given he's a $6,800, dollar for DFS salary, and you're saying he's going undrafted in these, I think that is a good pick. 13% chance he gets a top 10. So in 10,000 simulations, he's getting top 10 in about 1,300 of them. That seems like a lot. That seems like a lot of top 10s. So I think, yeah, Denny, that's a good shout. I like that call. I should be able to get Keegan and Connors here. I'm going to start with Connors. I just can't ignore Corey Connors. I'm going to be overexposed to him this week. But these are the Sims that I pay for. This is the data that I trust. If Connors is coming out winning this thing 333 times out of 10,000 Sims, I've got to listen to that. Getting top 10 2,300 times. Let me sort by top 10. It was kind of the same list, but it's interesting because the names who are getting drafted even higher tend to have a higher percentage of top 10. So it kind of lines up with ADP a little bit better. There's Denny. Denny, I don't know how many names are on this screen, probably half of the tournament. So if I stopped at Cantlay, can I see the other half? Yeah, just under half of the tournament shows up on this screen. So this is the top 40, about top 40 picks. Wow, Bradley does go. Glad we found Denny then. Yeah, yeah. I think Denny's a good call out. So Denny is a very solid putter. This is Denny's data golf profile. I know I'm blocking. Boom. Good putter, good around the green, decent approach. To start the season though, he's been okay. He's made cuts, but he's not really gaining a full stroke on the field at any of these events. He's averaging less than a stroke gain, so that's going to be a problem. So maybe Denny gets hot here. Cliffside at Pebble Beach. Yeah, Steve, I 100% agree. Corey Connors, I like him in the Albatross drafts at ADP. I like him this week as a weekly pick. The form, let's go look at his form. I keep going back to Twitter because it's the same color tab as my data golf. I was looking at Connor's form. He's okay, I think, right now. Right? A great approach player. So he's 1.4 standard deviations. Ahead of the PGA Tour average on approach. So that's kind of what this is, the 1.4. His recent form, he's only played at Sony in the Phoenix, so he doesn't have a whole lot. He gained a stroke in Sony with two strokes gained approach. Very nice. Lost strokes putting. He also lost a half stroke putting at the Phoenix, but his approach play at Phoenix was bad. His off the tee's been okay both weeks. So he's doing all right now. He's not trending in the right direction, but it's just too early to tell with only 2 results so far. This team ended up being Rory, Victor, McNeely, Spawn, Connors, and McCarthy. Let's draft another Underdog Open. And let's fix this camera. Oh man, the 4 spot. Maybe this is the team though where I get like somebody plus Henley potentially. Let's see. Where did Siwoo Kim show up in the Sims? He's got to be high. Yeah, he's high up there. So I always know that Rick weights it towards recent performance, and then he really hones in his model based on course history, based on the important metrics here. We talked about this earlier when we did the Twitter review. It's from Greg's thread. It's clearly your approach shots here, your ability to scramble, and then getting lucky with your putts, making sure the putts can fall on these tough greens. Rose, Henley, Shockley. I think I'm going to go Henley. I'll have another Henley team. I guess I could have just gone Fleetwood, but it seems like, odds to win. I'm going to sort by that again. In the Sims, Henley's just winning more often than Fleetwood, like more than twice as much. So I can't ignore that. I got to go with my data here. Schauffele over Hideki, though. I think I just need, I'm just going to go Schauffele. Yeah, clearly. I was wondering, I was like, is Hideki really simming out better than Xander? It's hard for me to believe that, even with Hideki's recent performance getting his second place. Phoenix. Let's go to the board, see what's going on. Yeah, of course, Hideki goes very next pick. Thanks again for being here. Make sure you guys smash that like button for me. We do PGA streams every Wednesday. I'm a little bit out of my element right now, but I'll be back home next Wednesday and kind of a more normal show. Okay, let's see. Either McIntyre or Day or Colin or Burns, actually. No, Spawn, Burns, Spawn. I think I go Spawn. I took him last time. I could do Day. Oh, I got McIntyre. I'm pretty fine with that, though. I'm good with McIntyre. Did McNeely already go? I thought I saw his name. Yeah, McNeely went. Day Spawn. Burns. I haven't selected yet. Day or Spawn, and then Burns. I'm going to queue up Bradley this time. I do want to get Bradley this one. Maybe take him in the 5th round. Am I going to take Spawn or do I take Ludwig and get different? It wasn't fast enough. I thought about going Ludwig there too, but I'll take another Spawn team. Probably, if any of these guys I'd probably take them. Let me check in where I think Bradley actually simmed out better than Colin by a little bit. Actually better than Burns too. So if Ludwig's there, I'll go Ludwig, just so I have one share of them. If not, I'll go Bradley or one of these two guys. And then for my scroll down this time, let's get a little tricky here. I want someone who has a good chance to win. Wyndham Clark is an interesting name. How often is Clark getting drafted versus Garrick Higgo? Garrick Higgo is playing with Travis Kelce, I'm pretty sure was his pairing for tomorrow. And we saw Travis Kelce hit a tee shot within 5 feet of the hole on the 16th par 3 last week. in Phoenix. So Kelsey has some golf game. I know he's played at the he's played out at Lake Tahoe in their event out there. That's kind of like it's not on the PGA Tour. It's not a PGA Tour event. It's like a fundraiser charity event. Can't spell Garrick, but I can spell Higo. And then who was the other one I liked? It was Clark. Clark's not really getting drafted that much. I think he's a good value. I don't know that I can ignore the Sam Burns. Where was Sam Burns is 200 out of 10,000, 206 wins out of 10,000 versus a scroll down to Clark. I'm only getting 101. So there's a pretty big drop off. I will go, and then even Morikawa actually. When it comes to Morikawa, I think I'm okay going with a scroll down like Clark or Higo, but over Sam Burns, I'll have to draft him. And I didn't see anyone else above Sam Burns who wasn't already drafted. Of course, Nico, but I think Nico, in my mind, I took one of him already. I don't want to be like too overexposed. This team ends up Henley, Shoffley, McIntyre, Spawn, Bradley, Sam Burns. Let's do another Underdog Open. Hoagie scroll down, says Kevin. Yo, what's up, Kevin? How are you doing, brother? Good to see you. Yeah, I think Hoagie's a good shout. I don't know where he lands in the sim. Let's just look it up. So this is rickrungood.com. This is his premium tool. And so he has 10,000 simulations on the field. This is ranked by the percent chance they have to win. Out of 10,000 sims, Scotty Scheffler's going to win it 24% of the time. So that's 2,400 victories across the simulations for Scotty. It's good to find Hoagie. I didn't see his name in the top 40, but I can't imagine it's so bad. I also like Tom Hoagie as a good scroll down. For some reason, though, he only simmed out to win this thing 29 times out of 10,000. And I think that speaks more to the strength of the field. Because if we look at Hoagie from the perspective of getting top 10, that would be 500 times. Top 20, 1,100 times. Damn, we have the 2 spot this time. I wanted to get a second Scheffler team. Yeah. I know Siwoo Kim's hot, but he just doesn't really sim out as good as Rory for me to skip. I might as well have 2 Rory teams. Based on the difference there, Siwoo winning it 161 times. Rory could win it and be back-to-back here, 375 times. Incredible that in the simulation, Scotty Scheffler wins this thing more than 2,000. Yeah, 2,000 simulations more than Rory, who's winning it in 375. Scotty's winning it in 2,441 simulations. That's just literally insane. I like the Hoagie shout though. If we get to the end of the draft and some of the other scroll downs I wanted to get like Clark or Higo are gone already, and it doesn't seem like they will be because we've had some good luck getting them. But if they are, I'll definitely consider Hoagie. I already have a team with Denny McCarthy. He was a scroll down we took. Matsuyama, McNeely. I mean, Goddard is just so good, but he's not sitting out very well. Do I fade Goddard coming off the victory? I took McIntyre recently. Let me go, obviously, with Becky here. See what comes back around. I mean, just to get Scotty Scheffler and Chris Goddard in any format is sick. I knew he was going to do it there. That's a pretty sick combo. Maverick McNeely has nice course history at Pebble Beach. Patrick Rogers went to Stanford, correct? So did McNeely, Tiger Woods, Thor Bjornsson, if I'm not mistaken. Michael Kim went to Cal. That's right. Yep. NorCal golfer. Scroll downs are worthy shouts. I like that. I like playing into that kind of narrative. The West Coast golfer. No doubt about it. Now I'm for Wyndham Clark. Did he ever win Pebble Beach? Am I going nuts? I don't think he did. Or I kind of can't remember. Did he? Did he not? Yeah, he did. I knew it. It wasn't even that long ago. It was after his U.S. Open. It was 2 years ago. Wyndham Clark won Pebble Beach 2 years ago, right there. So I don't know why I had forgotten that. Wyndham Clark really had a hot streak in 23 and 24. Since then, I'm not. I mean, he's kind of faded a little bit, but maybe I need to bump him up in my Albatross ranks just a little. Yeah, he did. He did. I knew he did. It's late at night and I'm starting to lose it. And we've reviewed so many data points tonight. We've reviewed so many golfers. It starts to blur a little bit. You start to question what you know. I can't take Spawn again. I took Spawn too many times already. But if he's there at my last pick, it's totally worth it. Otherwise, I'm gonna go Day. Should I go ahead and go with Connors? Day at the 4. Connors at the 5. I think we have enough Bradley. For some reason, Connors goes. I think I do need to get Wyndham Clark. And I like the Hoagie shout. We're going to throw him in there. I just don't know if we have a chance of getting that far down in our scroll on the type of volume we're doing tonight. It's like my third Corey Connors team. It feels good. Coming in as the 5th top player in the sim. Actually goes ahead of Hideki, who we took in the second round. With Keegan, he sims out so nicely with 200 wins out of 10,000. What's the difference between? I mean, that is a lot better than Clark at 100. I don't know why it's so different there. Why is Keegan so much higher? Huh. Okay, Burns goes. Interesting. Yes. Okay. You're so right about that, Kevin. Yes, it was 3 rounds because the weather. They did call it. That was wild. Who was the runner-up? Let's go to that win. Who was the runner-up? It was Ludwig. Yes, it was Ludwig. I was gonna say I should have just guessed. It was Ludwig that year. Yeah, they only played 3 rounds. Wild. Nope, it's over. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Didn't I just take Keegan? Didn't I just take Keegan? Yeah, I like those names. Okay, I gotta take one Clark. We just talked about him so much. I'll go one Clark. And then in the next draft, maybe we get to Hoagie. Maybe we get to Fowler. Noren, I thought about taking Noren. He showed up nicely. Fowler's pretty. He's getting drafted. Fowler's getting drafted a little bit. Damn. No Scotty Scheffler. 6 teams, only one Scotty Scheffler. Not this time though. Fowler's paired with Condoleezza Rice tomorrow. I saw that in the Pro-Am lineup. That's pretty interesting. She's a great golfer though. I think she's one of the, if I'm not mistaken, she's like one of the best golfers all time um, among the politicians. She has like a real handicap. I've looked into it in the past a couple of years ago. She always plays Pebble Beach. She's been playing it for a long time in this event in the Pro-Am. Let's see. Can't ignore Henley. Here's Henley, number 2 simmed golfer for this. Otherwise, go like Rose or Shoffley. Damn, we can do Rose and Shoffley. The heart wants to go Goddard so badly. That's all right. It doesn't have to be Goddard's week back to back. What was Goddard's strokes gained approach to start this season? Oh, it's going to be good. Oh my God. So good. 1.5 and 1.3 strokes gained approach in the last 2 events that he played. So I don't know why he's not sending out very well, but he's got the hot hand. Seems like it'd be a good fit here. Maybe it's a course history thing. And it's a really strong field too. Two picks. Oberg. Oberg was one of them. Connors, Ben Griffin. Where was Sepp on that list? Not high enough. This team's going to have some scrolls in it, so I'm going to pull Connors in the 4th round. And then where did Fowler show up? – Damn, Fowler's getting no love from the Sims. Where's Rick? There he is. Not a lot of love for Ricky Fowler for how much he's getting drafted. I'm probably not going to be able to get to him. I think I can get to Norin. I am not opposed to getting some Norin. He's going to be low owned, and I think he's a good click. That withdrawal from Oberg is super in play though. Yeah, for sure, right? Yeah, I know, right? Getting burned by those guys with WDs always hurts. Berger seems pretty live. I'm going to pull up Berger here on Data Golf. I know you can't see his name when I put it in because my camera's blocking it, but this is Berger. He's got some course history here. He finished first here in 2021. So I'll take a Berger. And then let's go research Hoagie again. I think it's just he was sending out too low. I want to scroll down, but I don't want to scroll down too far. Might just have to go Sam Burns. This could just be a Sam Burns spot. I'm gonna go Sam Burns. I feel like not a crazy scroll team, but Connors and Burt. Well, Berger's ADP is actually getting drafted, so I essentially didn't get a single scroll down this team. This is all just guys get drafted. It's a little tougher in these smaller fields with only 80 golfers. What about Sam Stevens? Why isn't Sam Stevens showing up anywhere in the sim? Vegas. Bridgman's down here low. Sam Stevens very low. The field's just too strong for Sam Stevens to win this thing. It's Scotty's to lose. But we knew that. We knew that going into it. Did anyone else scroll down? Let's look at these last picks. Not really. I'm not really seeing any big scroll downs here. Yeah, I don't mind this team. This team can compete. I'm not going to do a ton of volume this week. So I'm, not going to have the opportunity to get to so many scroll downs. But I like the way that we thought through this tonight. And some of the teams that we drafted, the Albatross team we drafted at the beginning of the show was super fun. And then we got in some picks for the Underdog Open. Again, for my one and dones, I'm going with Siwoo Kim. I'm going with Justin Rose. And then my last one and done, I'm picking Russell Henley, who summed out very nicely. So it makes me feel good about that pick. And yeah, thanks for being here tonight, guys. Catch me on Peter Overzet's channel Friday night for DFS After Dark. We're going to draft some Albatross. We're going to talk PGA best ball. And then I'll be back live on my channel Sunday night drafting NFL best ball. I'll catch y'all there. Thanks for being here. Make sure you like the stream on your way out and have a great rest of your week. See y'all later. Peace out.